Welcome to another Make It Monday. Today I'm going to be using this old H&M blouse and turning it into a green handkerchief because it's a really nice 100% linen fabric and I wanted to reuse it. It was quite worn and had like holes in different spots, but yeah, I wanted to recycle and upcycle it. So I'm measuring out a square of about 15 centimeters on each side, um, because I want it to be quite small. And I'm going to speed up the footage in some places because it's just not necessary to watch me going at like regular speed. It's gonna take about 2 hours or something in real speed, so it's being sped up. And it's useful to actually use one of these that has a 90-degree angle on it, because then it's easier to make a proper square. And I'm also using the grain of the fabric to see if I've made the lines completely straight. And when cutting it out, I noticed that it was much easier to cut it if I put some tension on the fabric, so that's what I'm doing. I'm holding it back on the table and then cutting straight ahead. Then the light was glitching, so I had to turn it on and off again, because apparently lights do that now. And there we have the little square. And I realized that cutting off the corners would make it much easier to round them off, because there's a little bit of an edge there that I want to make. What's it called? A hem, yeah. On this first side here, I start out by kind of rolling it in, and that turned out to be really difficult on the other ones. So you can see me kind of change technique as I tried different things. Obviously it's the first time I'm doing one of these, so you get to see my trial and error process. Isn't that fun? And obviously, before you start any type of project, you should probably iron the piece of fabric that you're using, just to avoid the kind of wrinkling that you can see here. But, you know, you gotta use what you got, right? I don't know why I need to show off the needle, but there it is. And it was a struggle to get the thread off this roll, I tell you. I think I cut out 5 minutes of footage here of just me struggling with the roll of thread. It worked. It's from the dollar store. And then make a knot on the end. And I usually try to hide that inside the folded hem so that the knot obviously isn't visible anywhere. And I'm doing this seam with a whip stitch, so you basically overlap every stitch on the back of the fabric. And there I had to fold it in before I started doing the first stitch even. And the reason I haven't done all the hems all the way around with needles to hold them is because I don't have enough needles to hold all the way around. I just have enough for one side. So yet again, gotta use what you got. And I'm not a quick seamstress by any means. This is actually sped up by, I think, 10 times the speed. I wish it was much faster, but what can you do? Just practice. I also wish I had a sewing machine. That would make this a lot easier. Could have done it in 10 minutes. If not less. It's kinda nice to just sit there and, like, do it manually though. And if you hear birds in the background, it's actually from Red Dead Redemption. So yeah, that happened. I did fade out the sounds of gunshots, but yeah. every corner, since I didn't have enough needles to go all the way around, I had to fold them in and then continue. So I just basically saved my space with the thread and then kept going. I noticed that for me, one arm length of thread actually lasted for 2 whole sides of this. If you have shorter arms or a larger handkerchief, you would have to splice in more thread more often. There, we're just cutting the corner off the piece of fabric so that the corner will lay flatter. And I struggled with it. And just rolling it, put needles in. There I was preemptive, cutting off the corner first. So I didn't have to bother when I got there with the seam. And I'm sorry, I go out of the field of vision sometimes because I'm still not really used to filming when I'm crafting or anything, so that'll get better in the future. And since I film on my phone, I don't even have a viewfinder or anything, so I don't know if I'm in the picture when I do things. So after a while, I'll catch myself thinking, "Oh, I'm probably out of frame," and then I have to go back to the other position, move into the middle of the table. And that was the end of the thread there, so it was a little bit of a struggle. I'm just splicing the new thread. But I decided to knot the last one first, because I'd kind of forgotten to do that. And then I figured out that if I actually run my fingernail across the folded edge that I'm trying to make, it actually stays. And then it was way easier to fold it over. Every time you meet a corner of the fabric, it kind of feels like an experiment to try to get the stitches to just go 90 degrees, but when you finally figure it out, it actually starts looking pretty good. And that corner turned out way pointier than the previous one, so I think every corner on this handkerchief turned out slightly different, just because I was trying out different ways to do it. And as you see here, I actually developed some techniques to hold the fabric taut between my fingers, and that made it so much easier to stitch. It's not easy being a newbie. And there I realized I was out of frame, so I went back. Alright, and in a little bit my camera will have the memory will fill up, so there's no footage of me doing the last scene. But I did get some footage of the finished handkerchief when it was done. Because I film on my phone and it only has a few gigabytes of memory left over, so yeah, that happens. And here's the finished product. As you can see, the corners look a little bit wonky because they're different, but this was hand stitched in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and I quite like it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!